Now on CoastTV News.
River search ends. The confirmation we received from Delaware State Police on the efforts to find the missing teenager who fell into the Broadkill River. Sand removal technique. What is different about this dredging process compared to others we have seen along the coast?
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Elisa Weber and welcome to Coast TV News Midday. Our top story this morning, Delaware State Police say the body of the 18-year-old who went missing in the Broadkill River on Tuesday has been recovered. We received confirmation from state police just before 10 o'clock last night. This was the scene throughout the day on Wednesday. Massive search efforts continued on the river. We're told George Nees-Chalel was found near the outer wall of the Delaware Bay. And now, how did this happen? Well, according to DSP, first responders were called to the scene around 4:32 in the afternoon on Tuesday when the 18-year-old was first reported missing. We're told he was crabbing with his family near the boat launch. He entered the river as they were preparing to leave, and DSP says he walked into the river until it reached his neck, at which point he began yelling for help. Authorities say family members attempted to rescue him, but were unable to reach him when he went under. The investigation revealed the family lost sight of him when they were calling for 911. One of the conversations around this incident has been the strong currents in the Broadkill. One man who was fishing on that river on Tuesday says the conditions were bad.
It was raining a lot that morning, so all the rain came into the river. So yeah, it wasn't fun. I didn't even know that somebody fell in the river, and we just saw a bunch of police cars going by, and we were confused.
And this is a sad ending for a family following a summer afternoon of fishing. And what happened there was the latest of an alarming month of July for activities at our coastal waters. According to Rehoboth Beach Police, the body of a swimmer who went missing last weekend was also found on Wednesday. You're now looking at that scene where police say the body of 27-year-old Gregory Kiritiu of Kenya was brought ashore. This was near Herring Point in Cape Henlopen State Park. Kiritiu went missing a Saturday night in the surf off of Rehoboth's Olive Avenue. And earlier this month, off-duty lifeguards spotted a missing swimmer near Cape Henlopen State Park. First responders said they saw a woman struggling in the water. They jumped in to save her, and she is reportedly doing okay. And we are now taking a live look outside at Dover this morning, and our first alert meteorologist, Bob Trahey, is going to be joining us. Bob, you've been talking about the temperatures all morning outside. We see the sun is shining out there.
Absolutely, Elisa. It's another summer sizzler. At least we have the wind, but it's a warm wind, and usually it's cooler at the coast, but not today. 87 Bethany Beach, 88 Rehoboth, Lewis here at 85. We've got mid to upper 80s across inland areas as well, and those dew point temperatures are rough in the 70s and low 80s. That means there's a lot of moisture in the air, and it's already feeling like 90s to 104 in Seaford, 103 in Milton, and it's going to be a hot afternoon. But once again, it's breezy, so it's good to see that. But we have a heat advisory all across Delmarva, from Sussex County to Wicomico County and the Eastern Shore as well. So make sure you have plenty of water this afternoon. Find a nice shady spot. We're looking at mostly sunny skies right now. That's going to be the case much of the day. It's just going to be hot. A little disturbance to our west could spark some storms a little bit later on. But here's noon on Futurecast. Upper 80s and even lower 90s at the beaches, and even 93 in Rehoboth, 90 in Bethany Beach. When it's in the 90s at the coast, you know it's hot, and then low to mid 90s inland. Maybe a stray shower or storm this evening, but we're looking at, feels like temperatures hot as 105 in Millsboro, and even at the beaches, mid to upper 90s, even 100 degrees. So take care in the heat this afternoon with temperatures in the 90s. Maybe a few storms the next couple of days. Not as hot Friday, and more pop-up storms into the weekend. Much more in your forecast coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
Thank you, Bob. Emergency dredge work is now taking place in the Ocean City Inlet. The Army Corps of Engineers made their way into the inlet around 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. And instead of dumping the sand off of the coast at Assateague, the Army Corps is using a dredge that shoots the sand 85 feet away from the channel. This project is expected to take about 10 days. And new overnight, we now know the name of the teenager arrested in connection to a deadly shooting in Salisbury Tuesday night. According to Maryland State Police, 18-year-old Jonathan LaRose-Job is facing charges after police say a 24-year-old man was shot around 5:30 p.m. This happened near the 600 block of Smith Street, and troopers say LaRose-Job is facing several charges, including first and second-degree murder. And the U.S. government has announced a 17% tariff on most fresh Mexican tomatoes after negotiations to avoid it fell through. While Mexico supplies about 70% of U.S. tomatoes, supporters of the new tariff, including some Delmarva farmers, hope it leads to more tomatoes grown and eaten here at home, and that rising grocery store prices of imported tomatoes will push more people to shop local. They say buying local supports their livelihoods and helps boost the local economy.
We try to accommodate everybody and make prices reasonable because we do know that the prices are increasing and are higher in stores, and we still want everybody in our town to be able to still receive fresh produce.
And this tariff, which was announced by the U.S. government on Monday, is now in effect. And happening today, a celebration to open Delaware State Fair. At 3 o'clock, officials will hold a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the newly renovated Memorial Hall and Museum. Organizers say the upgraded space is a modern venue, and according to the fair, it honors more than 100 years of agriculture, tradition, and community spirit. The Delaware State Fair runs now until July 26th. And coming up after the break, how people came together as one in Berlin to help raise money for a good cause.
Raising money can be very challenging, but it's a lot easier when you have some friends, right? Coast TV's Kevin Zapay introduces us to a group of individuals and shows us how they came together to raise money for locals with disabilities.
If you went to the Zoom car wash in Berlin on Saturday, you probably saw bubbles and suds paired with community spirit. People from around the area came together to raise money for people who were born with spina bifida, a condition where the spinal cord doesn't completely form before birth, which can affect fluid flow in the brain and lower body functions. According to Heather Bennett, the president of the Spina Bifida Association, donations are needed to help cover hefty medical expenses.
A lot of times the support needed is lots of doctor's appointments, lots of surgeries. Some individuals need wheelchairs, like all of my friends here today.
Kane Vickers has spina bifida, and according to Kane's grandmother, financial struggles continue outside the doctor's room. During physical therapy, Kane rides this bicycle to help build muscle in his legs, and he loves every second. But when they went to buy the bike for him to use at home, they could not believe the price tag.
One of these little tricycles are $5,600. And that's a lot, and that's no coverage from insurance.
But these prices are not stopping Kane's family, and luckily for them, the community is right by their side, starting with Zoom Car Wash in Berlin, who started hosting fundraisers every Saturday between April and September.
The owners wanted to give back to the community here on the lower shore, and we found a great response.
Then came the Spina Bifida Association, who brought food and drinks and took the time to clean out cars and dry them off for donations. And last year was a success for the group, raising around $2,300.
We were the highest raising organization of the whole fundraising season. And so for the winner of the season, Zoom kicks in another $1,000 donation.
And let's not forget about all the Jeeps that came in support, all thanks to the OC Local Jeep Society, who gave a $500 check to the Spina Bifida Association. This cause hit close to home for the Jeep Club, as Kane's grandfather is part of the group, and was at a loss of words for how grateful he was to see everyone in support of his grandson.
Speechless, to think that, they would give up their time to come out here and help. It's great.
While Kane did cool tricks in his wheelchair, the group came together to count up all of the donations. And in the end, they raised $3,218. Nearly $1,000 more than last year. The Spina Bifida Association has had great success when holding an event here at the Zoom Car Wash, so they plan to come back next year alongside the OC Local Jeep Society. I'm Kevin Zapay in Berlin, Coast TV News.
The summer sizzle is on across Delmarva. It's the middle of summer, so it's pretty typical, but it is very hot and humid. 86 in Salisbury right now, looking over SU. Some powdery blue skies, a few cumulus clouds, and that dew point is 76, making it feel much hotter as we're headed into the low 90s this afternoon. Part of your storyline, I think you want to be close to this air conditioner as you want to go as we go into the afternoon with sweltering heat and humidity. Feels like temperatures as high as 105 with an isolated thunderstorm possible this evening. And then Friday is hot, but probably not as hot as today, but still muggy and feeling like upper 90s and triple digits. And the State Fair is underway in Harrington. If you're headed up there, make sure you have lots of water and dress appropriately. 1 p.m. 92, and then by 4, I think it's probably closer to about 94. And then by 7 o'clock, we're looking at temperatures into the upper 80s. So really be safe in this heat as we're looking at mid to upper 80s, even very hot temperatures at the coast. 87 at Bethany Beach, 88 Rehoboth, 86 in Lewis, Georgetown 87, Millsboro 87, and those dew points are nasty. Mid to upper 70s, close to 80. That's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere and already feels like temperatures 102 in Seaford, 100 in Rehoboth, feeling like 102 in Ocean Pines. At least we have a southwesterly breeze, but it's a hot breeze offshore. So a heat advisory for all of Sussex County, including the immediate coast through 8 p.m. The same for Salisbury back through Ocean City and the Eastern Shore, also under this heat advisory through this evening. And we're not alone. That heat advisory extends from northeast North Carolina all the way into New York and southern New England. As we're looking at mostly sunny skies right now, that'll be the case into the afternoon hours with the southwesterly flow. Could see some energy that is gathering back to our west move in and perhaps give us some storms this evening. And in the tropics, we're watching a system along the Gulf Coast of Louisiana, and this system's interacting with land, so I don't think it will become Dexter. And right now, in fact, only a 30% chance of this developing into a tropical system, but a lot of that moisture will be moving inland. We're not expecting excessive rainfall today or tomorrow, but then as we go into the weekend, Saturday, different story. Maybe a low to moderate chance of seeing very heavy rain. And then this evening, we do have a threat of damaging winds, maybe some heavy rain with some storms, as Futurecast is showing us in the low to mid 90s this afternoon, even some 90s at the coast. Take care in this heat. And then this evening, maybe a pop-up storm is possible, and that could happen through the overnight hours. Otherwise, Friday morning, another warm start. Clouds, temperatures in the 70s, maybe a few storms, and a weak cool front cools us off a little bit into the afternoon with highs into the mid to upper 80s, but still very warm. Feels like temperatures this afternoon as high as 105, mid to upper 90s at the coast. Not as bad tomorrow, but still feeling pretty hot as we're seeing some storms, I think, into the weekend. Won't wash away your weekend plans. Storms Saturday, then again on Sunday, and then refreshingly dry and cooler behind the front as we go into Monday, as we see our muggy meter in the very humid to miserable range, and then getting a little more comfortable finally as we go into the early part of next week. 94 in Harrington today at the fair, Georgetown 94, feeling like triple digits with the humidity. 95 in Easton, 94 in Vienna, 92 in Crisfield, around 91 in Ocean City. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, upper 80s Friday, and then hit and miss storms into the weekend. Not a washout. 85 Saturday, 90 Sunday, lower humidity and a little cooler as we head into the early part of next week under mostly sunny skies.
Thank you, Bob. And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
It is a Thursday. That means we've got a little drama to spill. This one, again, some coworker drama, but it has to do with keeping your work life and your home life separate. Ooh, juicy.
It is juicy. Plus, we've got the Big Fish Classic to talk about. Get that line in the water.
It's going to be so much fun. All of that and more coming your way today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
The Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice is hosting what it calls the Good Trouble Lives On rally. Organizers say it's a commemoration of former U.S. Representative and civil rights activist John Lewis's life, and that the event also serves as a call to action for justice, unity, and civic engagement. It's from 6 to 7:30 at Johnny Walker Beach and will feature speakers, music, and community leaders, all inspired by Lewis's call to, quote, get in good trouble, necessary trouble. And coming up tonight on DSN at 6:15, it's Maryland's boys basketball. Then you can catch the final score at 10:30. Along with that game, you can catch these exclusives on the DSN Plus app. This is all softball happening today. And speaking of softball, the Little League Softball Mid-Atlantic Regional Tournament kicks off this Sunday, and the Delmarva Sports Network will be in Bristol covering Maryland's Delmar team and Delaware's Camden, Wyoming squad. It is brought to you by Preston Automotive, and we'll have live updates and game highlights all week on the Delmarva Sports Network app, website, and social media. Stay tuned to all of that action on the Delmarva Sports Network. And coming up, drinks in downtown Salisbury. Officials say a new program would give more flexibility to adults and boost to businesses. Downtown Salisbury is hosting a new program letting guests legally sip and stroll with adult beverages at selected events. It's called TAPS, To Go Alcohol in Public Spaces. Officials say the new initiative allows adults 21 and over to enjoy alcoholic beverages in designated areas during downtown events like Third Friday, the Maryland Folk Festival, and New Year's Eve. Mayor Randy Taylor says the goal is to make downtown more vibrant and inviting. And speaking of the Folk Festival, Salisbury says it has received a major grant to enhance this year's event. The city was awarded $50,000 from the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority to develop the Maryland Folklife Stage and area. The funding will also support artist fees, stage rentals, signage, and audio storytelling. The 2025 Maryland Folk Festival kicks off Friday, September 19th.
One of those kind of days you want to be out on a boat. Here's the FH Fair Cam in Cambridge, 86 degrees, and we're headed through the 80s into the 90s this afternoon. It's a sizzler, mid-90s, feels like temperatures as high as 105, so take care in the heat for sure. And congratulations to James Worrell of Dover. He has a new umbrella, courtesy of Paul Davis and Coast TV. Coming up, I'll have your 10-day forecast that shows a cooler trend. I'll let you know when that happens coming up after the break. If you're out in this intense heat this afternoon, make sure you have plenty of water and take frequent breaks and find a shady spot. We're going to be in the low to mid 90s. At least there's a breeze, but with the humidity, it's going to be feeling as hot as 105 inland areas, even mid to upper 90s, even close to 100 at the coast. Remember to call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandelis, Federico. Paul Davis 10-day forecast, a little cooler Friday, 88, then some storms into the weekend. Won't be a washout, 85 Saturday, 90 Sunday, and then refreshingly cooler and drier Monday and Tuesday with mid 80s and overnight lows in the 60s. That'll be nice, but that's short-lived because we're back in the low 90s by the end of the weekend. Maybe some storms again into next weekend.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Midday. And for more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Don't forget to join us for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. Have a great day.